So yesterday we have completed how the test cases will be, how the test cases design will be, how we used to write the test cases and the test scenarios. Now, once the test cases are done, so once we written all the test cases, we will raise some of the defects which we got the defects in the application after executing of the test cases. So we will raise the defects. So that defects we will raise in some kind of defect tracking tool. And here we are using it as a Jira. So we are going to have a session on this Jira today. So what is Jira? So Jira is a tool. Jira is a project management tool, as well as issue tracker. So Jira is a project management as well as an issue tracker. So it is popular in planning, tracking, and managing. So why we call it as a project management itself. So throughout the activities what are happening in a development cycle, from the product owner to the release of that build, everything can be managed in the Jira tool. So that's why we will call it as a project management tool. So in this project management tools, we will track every kind of task and every kind of issue here. So for the testers, most of the people will be used as a project management tool. The companies, or some of the startups, or else some of the minor companies, they don't need this kind of huge project management thing. So simply they will use it as a defect management tool. So they will only track the issues, they will only log the issues, and they will only use the Jira for the issue tracking purpose. So before going to the Jira, so as we said, project management tool. So Jira, in this project management tool, so for our section, we will have a discussion Agile Model. Agile Model. So previously we had a brief in software SDLC models. So in these SDLC models, we have a brief about this Agile Model. So now we will go through this Agile Model completely. So here, Agile Model. So in this, what is Agile Model and what are the terminologies? So Agile Model is an iterative approach. So whatever the tasks, whatever the application is there, so the application will be completed in an iterative model. So we will use iterative process for this. It is a time boxed. So Agile process is called as a time box because we will manage the time as well as the applications bandwidth in that time, whatever we have. So we will divide into that and we will put that applications software, whatever the task we had, in specified time, and we try to complete that time. Likewise, deadlines are very near for the minor things. Like we will take only the 2 tasks and we will keep the deadline as a 1 week ahead or 2 weeks ahead. Once that is done, that is done. We will take a new task and we will take other deadline as a 2 weeks or something, that is done. Likewise, it will be an iteration process. It will be an iteration process. So in that manner, we can deliver the software, we can deliver that software product in an incremental instead of once. Incremental in the sense, first of all, we will do the module 1 or else functionality 1. And second, we will do the functionality 2. And in the third build, we are going to do the functionality 3. And in the next month, we'll go give the functionality 4. And in other month, we will give the functionality 5. Likewise, application we will give to the customer in an incremental model, not in a single application will not be given in this Agile model. So that is an Agile process here. So this Agile process will be done likewise. So for example, there was a module or else something which is a module. So this module will be divided like so. This module will be divided like functionalities. Paint. activated. So this is a functionality 1. And for this functionality, here the planning will happen. And after the planning, the implementation of this functionality will happen. And next, testing will happen. And next, review will happen. And next, we'll go for them. So likewise, there will be functionality 2 and a functionality 3. So we will divide the functionalities likewise. Functionality 2 and functionality 3. So this whole process will be done at a time. So first of all, they will divide the module into 3 parts. So how much the functionality is depends upon that. They will divide the functionalities. So first of all, they will take care of only one functionality. This is the functionality 1. So they will plan how the functionality should be executed and what are the documents they will plan. The development team will plan how to implement. Testing team will plan how to write the test case and the test scenarios and all. In here, they will implement the process. While implementation, testing people will write the test cases and write the test scenarios. Once that implementation is done, this will go for the test. They will execute the test cases and they will raise the bugs if any. If not, it will be reviewed by the product owner. So if the product owner was satisfied, it will be go to the bid. If the product owner was not satisfied, it will again navigate to the plan. So if the product owner was satisfied, yes, it will go for the build. So if he is not satisfied, it will be now redirected to the planning mode again. So why he is not satisfied? Is there any requirement changes? So the requirement will be changed and will comes to implementation again, will comes to testing again. So likewise, this flow will happen from functionality plan to build. So the functionality 1 is completely done. So once this is done, in the next sprint, they will go for the functionality 2. So this whole process will be happen in a 2 weeks of time. For that 2 weeks, we call it as a sprint. So that 2 weeks we call it as a sprint here. So you understood now how the process flows?
Yes. Yes, understood.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to terminologies, we have few terminologies. So whenever they are taking a sprint or else product owner is there, so they have some kind of terminologies. Like product owner will ask, like, so what we are trying to achieve. So what we are trying to achieve. So what we want, what the product owner want. So what is the scope for this total thing, total development process. So there is some kind of functionality or there is some kind of task that needs to be done by the team. So there is some kind of module or else some kind of requirement. That whole requirement, we'll call it as an epic. Okay, the whole requirement we'll call it as an epic. So epic means it is a huge requirement. And next, what is required to achieve epic? So what is required to achieve epic? So what we are trying to achieve? So we want to achieve the epic part. So what is required to achieve that epic? So we require functionalities. We require features. So whatever the epic it is there, it is a huge requirement. So that requirement, they will divide it into some features. Okay. So what we want to, what is required to achieve this epic is futures. So that futures will be divided into stories. Story 1, story 2, story 3. So that epic is converted to future, and that future is divided into story 1, story 2, story 3. In a single epic, there may be multiple features, maybe or may not. So that those are the, we call it as stories. And what is required to achieve stories? So we need to achieve tasks first. So that stories will be divided into tasks. In that story 1, we will have a task A, we will have a task B, and we will have a task C. Likewise. So these tasks will be implemented in the sprint, and they will complete the stories. They will complete the stories part. So if we seen in a diagram, so this is an epic, and after epic, so this epic will be product owner will be converted to epic. So this is epic, and these are futures. So from that epic, we will get the futures. So that futures we will divide it into stories. Story 1, story 2, story 3. So that epic, that future, we will be divided into stories. So divided into stories. So each story again will divide it into tasks. Task 1, task 2, task 3. So these tasks will be developed, will be taken by developers or testers or whoever responsible for. So if it is a design task, design team will take that. If it is a development task, coding thing, the developers will take that. If it is a testing part, the testers will take that. So depending upon that task, the developer will give the estimated time. So he will give, as I need 2 days for this. So the tester needs 3 days for some tasks. Likewise, they will cover all the 2 weeks for everyone in the single sprint. So once all the tasks are done in a single story, that story will be done. Likewise, so when all the tasks are done in story 1, all the tasks are done in story 2, and all the tasks are done in story 3, then the complete future is done. So if it is a single future, the epic is done. If it is a multiple futures, so one by one, they will complete all the futures to achieve the epic. Okay. So these are all the terminologies: epic, stories, and task. Task A, task B, and task. So in this agile, we have roles. So in this agile, we call it as a Scrum roles. Scrum roles means people who are involved in this agile process. So first person will be the product owner. So what does the product owner do? Who is the product owner? So product owner is responsible for the project completion. So product owner means whoever is taking the whole project, whoever has the contact with the customer. For example, Amazon. If you are taking an as Amazon, so Amazon, the customer is Jeff Bezos. So he owns the Amazon. The Amazon product is his. But to build that Amazon, he needs some IT company and some person between him and the IT company. So that person is a product owner. So product owner, he will understands the requirement from the customer. Understands the requirement from the customer. So whatever the customer says about that software or about that application, he will discuss with the product owner, and he will understand about that product or application, and he will have a great vision on that final product, how the final product will look like and how the final product should look. And he is responsible to make balance the needs of stakeholders. So means, so depends upon that requirement what is coming from the customers or the stakeholders, he needs to prioritize that tasks, or he needs to prioritize that functionalities what they are saying. So depending upon that, he needs to work out on the application. Next, he is responsible for product backlog. So backlog in the sense, he is responsible for the product backlog in the sense, so whatever the things that needs to be done in the future, it should be prepared currently. So for example, in the next week, I want to do something, or else in this week, I have missed to do something. So that things will be stored somewhere. So whenever a sprint planning happens, at that sprint planning, the tasks will be taken from the product backlog. So whatever the leftover tasks or else the future tasks, everything will be stored in the product backlog. He is responsible to maintain that product backlog, and he is also responsible for the releases. Release management. The application, whenever it wants to go to production or live to all public, so he is the one responsible to release that product to the public once everything is done. Okay, so after this product owner, we have other guy like Scrum Master. So he is the person who knows about the total agile process. Okay, so he is the person who is going to manage the team as well as the product owner. He will be in the between of the product owner as well as the team. So so he is responsible for doing everything together. So whatever the requirements we got, so as per the agile model and as per the agile process, he needs to guide to all the Scrum people, and he needs to take the he needs to work out on all the process of happening of that agile. So he is responsible for that. And also, so between that, whatever the Scrum team members we have, like development team or testing team, he will be in between the product owner as well as the total Scrum team, that is including of the development team and the software team. So he will be in between of product owner and Scrum team. There are two. So, and next, as he was responsible for the whole process, so he will do the planning. He will do the planning and breaking down of work. So whatever the work needed for the 2 weeks, so they have to take only the 2 weeks of work. So that from the planning, whatever they planned, they have to break down the tasks, and they have to only consider the tasks for the next 2 weeks and should put that in the sprint. So that thing he will do. It will be done by the Scrum Master. And he also manages backlogs. So product backlogs are created by the product owner. So that created backlogs, Scrum Master will prioritize and will put it in the sprint. So whatever the requirements are there, product owner will create the requirements in the backlog. So whatever the requirements are left over in the sprint, that will comes to the backlog automatically. So that backlogs he will manage this, Scrum Master will manage this to the sprint. And next, we should be responsible for ensuring transparency between the teams, between team people or team persons, everyone. So transparency in the sense what is happening in the project, everyone should know. So for example, that tester one is working on some specific thing, so that he is working on that specific thing that every people should know, all the development people and all the testing people. So for that we will have a daily calls. So he is responsible for scheduling that calls and he is responsible for ensuring the transparency between the team members. So after that Scrum Master, we have Scrum Team. And if you have any doubts in the middle, you can raise your hand or you can interrupt me in the middle. Okay, if you are not understanding or stuck anywhere. Scrum Team. Scrum Team means it consists of all the QAs and all the developers all together. Dev and QA. So called as Scrum Team. So what the Scrum teams do is, so whatever the tasks they got, whatever the work they got, they will break down that work into tasks. They will break down the work into minor tasks. So because why these people do is they are the person who is going to implement that. So they are the person who is going to create the test cases or implement the code, write the code. So these are the persons who divide that functionality or that story into subtasks or tasks. Okay, and these people will involve in planning, implementation, and testing and reviewing. So these people will also involve in planning. Why these people will be involved in planning? Because Scrum people is a combination of developers and QA. So the person who is going to develop that, he only knows the estimated time to complete that. So using that estimation time, the sprint will be planned for the 2 weeks or something, or whatever the time they kept for. So, and developers will do the implementation part and testing people will do the testing part. And after the development and testing is done, these both teams will review what they have done from the development perspective as well as the testing perspective. So these are also called the reviewers. And these people should ensure the delivery with timely manner and quality assurance. So why the delivery means whoever working on the development side, so they have to do that implementation as per the estimations and he has to give the delivery as soon as possible. And that delivery that needs to be tested, that build, whatever the implementation part is done, that needs to be tested by the quality assurance team, QA team, and they should be responsible for the quality of that whole application or that whole software. And the next one, communicating the process or work progress to Scrum Master. So whatever they are doing, so on the day-to-day basis, all the development people and all the creating people should share the work progress with the Scrum Master. So for example, if I'm going to do this today morning, I will say to the Scrum Master like I'm going to do this task, and in the evening I will tell like I have completed this task, or else I'm in progress of doing this task. I will complete this tomorrow. Likewise, so Scrum team will work on. Okay, so you understood what are the terminologies we had: product owner, Scrum Master, and the Scrum team, and their responsibilities. Any doubts in this? Hmm?
In Scrum Master responsible for doing everything together.
What your voice is low.
In Scrum Master is there, no? Scrum Master responsible for doing everything together.
Yeah, Scrum Master is responsible for the process. Okay, and see here, for example, you are the customer. You want to build a software, and you don't know the development process and the testing process and all. So for that, you will hire a product owner. So what the product owner will does means, so whatever the concept you had, so you have a concept like something delivery concept. So that delivery concept you will be shared to the product owner. Product owner will write the requirements for that. So how this should be done in the agile process, there is no business analyst. The product owner will take care of the whole project, and he is responsible for getting the requirements from the customer, and he is responsible for giving the requirements to the team. So product owner will prepare all the requirements, and he is the only one person who has the total visibility about that application and total knowledge about that application, what needs to be done. For that, he needs development team and the QA team. So the product owner needs this development team and the QA team. So the development team will do the implementation, and the QA team will be responsible for the quality purpose. So to manage this development team and the QA team, so there should be a process. So that process handler is a Scrum Master. So he is responsible for this application implementation process. So he will manage the development team and the QA team, and he will share the process, and he will plan the process, and he will manage the team, and he will communicate with the team, and he will deal everything regarding to the process. Okay. You got, or still you have a confusion on Scrum Master? Scrum Master don't know the development things. Scrum Master is not a technical person. So he is only responsible for the process, like a supervisor or something. Okay.
Okay, understand.
Fine. Any doubts?
No doubts.
No doubts.
So once this is done, I was always telling like we are doing to take a sprint, take a sprint, take a sprint like. So there will be a sprint means, for sprint means it's a time period. Like for example, some kind of projects will take 2 weeks as a sprint. Some kind of project will take 3 weeks as a sprint. Some will take 4 weeks as a sprint. But the minimum is 2 weeks and the maximum is 4 weeks, not more than that. So sprint means, so that 2 weeks of time period, what needs to be completed from that 2 weeks of time period. Okay. In that sprint planning meeting, there will be a sprint planning meeting. So in this meeting, they will discuss what needs to be done in 2 weeks of period. So in this planning, everyone will include. So the Scrum Master, Scrum Team, as well as product owner. Product owner will give the requirement in this planning, and these people will tell their estimation, and depending upon the estimation, they will take out the 2 weeks tasks and they will assign it in the current sprint meeting. So whatever the rest tasks are there which are not taken in the sprint, that will be going to the backlog part. Okay. So in this sprint, they will prepare the tasks, and they will prepare all the things, and they will have a sprint activity. In this sprint activity, whatever the task they have taken, so they will have status for that. So for every story, they will have subtasks. For every subtask, they will have status like to do. So once the task is created, it will be in the to do stage. So if the developer or if the person is going to work, so he will keep it as an in progress. So once it's done, he will move to the testing. So once the testing is done, they will move to the done or closed. So likewise, if they're taken some 10 tasks, so all the tasks will be started by the respective person. So 3 of them start from the 3 developers, 2 starts from the 2 testing people, and 3 starts from the design people, all in parallel. They will keep on in progress. The status will be updated to in progress. Status will be updated to in progress, and later Status will be changed to testing if that build is done and it has moved to testing. And once the testing is done, it will be closed. If any bugs or issues raised, they will create a sub defect for that task and they will assign to the developer who is done. So that the sprint activity goes for every task and they will complete all these 10 tasks in 2 weeks of time. So once the 2 weeks of time is done, again they will have a sprint meeting. They will plan for the next 2 weeks and they will complete that next 2 weeks task. So likewise, for every 2 weeks, they will keep a deadline of 2 weeks and they will complete the task in that 2 weeks part. So we will have a Scrum meeting. Scrum meeting is like daily meeting, daily 15 minutes meeting. In this meeting, all the development people, QA people, and Scrum Master will join. There is no need of product owner. If he joins, no issue, but there is no mandatory part. In this meeting, there will be a 15 minutes meeting. Every person, whoever involved in development and QA team, they will say like what they are going to do and what they have done or else. So they will have a 15 minutes of meeting. They will discuss about the today's things, what they are going to do and what they have done. So this will be happen every day. This is called Scrum meeting. And there is another meeting called a sprint retrospective. In this meeting, so this meeting will be done on the last day of the sprint, on the 14th day, 2 weeks now, 14th day of the sprint. So they will discuss like what went right and what went well. What went well and what didn't. They will discuss about how the sprint went well. So is there any challenges for the development team or the QA team? So they will discuss, and if there are any challenges or any risks, they will plan that it should not get any conflict with the time period or it should not get any conflict with the application. So in that sprint retrospective, they will plan like in this sprint, these are gone well. I'm happy with that. And other things are, if this doesn't gone well, I have an issue with here. I have a challenge I have faced while implementing this task. So they will try to figure out that kind of challenge will not come in the next sprints. So that meeting is called at a sprint retrospective. So you have any doubts in this whole agile process? So this is the whole agile process. So in your live project, you are going to deal with this agile process. You have any doubts in this?
Okay.
So no doubts. Okay. And all projects will be managed in Jira tool. And Jira tool we will discuss live in the tomorrow's session. Okay. I will also add your mails to Jira. You can also access that Jira from your mails. We will create the backlogs, we will create the tasks, we will create the epics, we will create the futures, stories, and we will raise defects too. Okay, any doubts in this? Up to here?
No doubts.
Okay, and also I have shared you the videos of our sessions. I hope you are have access now. You are trying to access that now. You are able to see the video, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, once after the session, try once you are able to get the videos or not. If not, let me know. I will check it out. Okay.
Okay.
I can see only 3 views, 2 views like that. Some people are missing to check the video. Just confirm that is it getting to your mails or not.
Okay.
If not, ping me in the WhatsApp. I will deal with that. Okay.
Okay.
We'll meet you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.